Thanks Beck and thanks Lionel, always was and always will be. I'm Belinda King from Deloraine Primary School and I love teaching. I love witnessing my students learning and developing socially throughout the year. I love particularly engaging those struggling students, seeing those lights switch on. It just makes my heart sing. 15 years ago, I needed a change of direction in my life and I began my BEd, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, full of enthusiasm. I wanted a career that was ethical, meaningful and challenging. Well, I got that in spades, didn't I? They say be careful what you wish for. I've been teaching for 10 years now, and when I first started, I used to work 12 hours a day, eagerly beavering away. I wanted to be a great teacher and live up to the important role that I had taken on. I assumed as I gained experience that I would actually have a smaller workload, that it would decrease, but silly me. My efforts and developing skills were far outpaced by an avalanche of administrivia. In reality, the workload just becomes more and more unmanageable every day. Risk management, IEPs, Triple S, PDPs, PLTs, SIPs, and of course the dreaded data, all while navigating a global pandemic that just keeps on giving. But there's some data that our employers, should I say, don't want to interrogate. Teacher bashing in the media has been steadily increasing and has led to fewer of our best and brightest taking up the profession. And even when they do make that brave choice, nearly 50% don't finish their training. About 1/3 of them quit before the 5 years have passed in their profession. There's little wonder, once they get a taste for it, they bail. The reality is that teachers work an average of 11 hours per week of unpaid overtime. Shame indeed. So when you multiply that by school weeks, you actually get a whopping 440 hours of unpaid work. That's nearly 12 weeks, people. So teachers don't actually get any paid holidays, no matter what the media tell you.
Bloody shame.
But it's not just the newbies that are bailing. Our experienced teachers are hemmed in, beaten down, fed up and burnt out. They're leaving, or considering leaving, the profession in droves. There's been a massive 50% increase in stress. This churn and burn approach to education has inevitably left us with chronic staff shortages, also leading to collapsed classes and unrelenting disruptions to learning. So, how did I manage to actually beat the odds and get through a decade of teaching? I actually reduced my workload to 3 days a week, but not everybody has that choice. Data on our sector clearly illustrates a picture of our profession, a shocking and dark picture. But when you think of a painting that best represents your working conditions, what image comes to mind? Is it a serene landscape or a surrealist nightmare? When I think of teaching, I think of Edvard Munch's The Scream. I love teaching, but I have to admit that I don't love being a teacher under these conditions. We have nowhere near enough time, support, resources, funding or staff to provide the quality education that our children need and deserve. But you know this, and that's why you're all here. The government also knows this, but we've got a couple of slow learners up the back. One's a dreamer whose head's full of football fantasies. And his sidekick is too busy lobbing spitballs at teachers to actually listen to them. So at times like these, like all good teachers, you've got to be resourceful and creative. First, you have to make sure that they've got their listening ears on. And I've got my listening book here, but seeing this great big crowd here today, I don't think I'll be needing that. But sometimes you have to get back to basics. So I've actually been having a bit of fun, and I've written a poem, an acrostic poem to the government. So R is the 3 R's that the government need to focus on. They need to realise that resourcing, recognition and remuneration are required. E is for excellence. Expenditure in educational endeavours enables everyone, everywhere. S is for sustainability. Stop staff stress. A sufficient supply of support staff equals student success. P is for practical propositions for pay parity. Poorly paid professionals will probably be poached. E is for educators are not expendable. End the exodus of exhausted educators before they become endangered. C is for conditions. Collapsed and chaotic classrooms are compromising kids' concentration and curriculum outcomes. T is for trust. Teachers are tired of the talk. It's time to trust our teachers. So, RSPCET, better learn to spell, shouldn't I? This is what it means to me and my colleagues here today. And I'm sure all sectors here are demanding the same thing, respect for their essential work. But perhaps I'm missing the mark with all this art and poetry. Maybe it's a bit too highbrow. We know some of our politicians are not the brightest crayons in the pack. So, do you get the picture now, Mr. Premier? Thank you.